And basically, CMYK values for skin, it's not about specific values, it's about relationships of colors. So what you're going to want is cyan to be, usually it's about half or lower of what the magenta value is. And the yellow value is usually about 10% more than magenta. So going through here,
and this is just for white skin, right? Like different ethnicities is different.
Right. Right. Different ethnicities will be slightly different. A lot of Hispanics will have a little bit more olivey tone to their skin. Latin Americans, will have a little bit more olive tones. So the yellow might be a little bit more, and the cyan might be a little bit more. Some black people have either real warmer skin or cooler skin, depends on the person. Some people have more blue in their skin. But you also have to look at the atmosphere in the image too, because if it's more of a mood image and you're getting some color casting throughout, that's like intentional color effects, you get reflections on the skin. So that's why it's hard to really give specific values. It's more about the relationships of colors, because if it's a brighter image, these values will be a lot lower, maybe like 40%, and then 50%, and then cyan will be 10% or something like that. So it's all about the relationships of the colors. If really looking at it, her skin values overall are pretty close, maybe a little yellow. And 4. Let me go my sample point too, so I can see my samples. And the shadow here, it looks like there's maybe a little too much yellow. And 2, so her arm has maybe a little too much yellow in it. 78, it's close, maybe a touch on her face. 3 is pretty close. That's pretty good. So what we're going to do is with the blues, and we'll just add a little blue, and we're going to see where this value is. I'll just control click on these points. So we can control click on 2, control click on 4. Because I have this, but well, it's a little different now in CS4, so it's not really working. So this is a new tool in CS4. It's called I think it's called the finger scrubber or something like that. And it allows you to click on a part of the image and then make a point and move it. So I think they eliminated the ability to just control click on it through this adjustment panel. I think you can do it if you're just doing a standard adjustment on the image, but if you're using this adjustment panel with an adjustment layer, you have to use the scrubby tool there, which is helpful because it allows you to just click on a point and you can move that individual area of the image by basically just clicking, and you just drag left or right. So one thing that's important too is a lot of times when you're adjusting one color, like that's interesting. It shifted into RGB channel. I wasn't even paying attention. So making sure you're in the right channel is important too. What I was saying though, sometimes when you affect one color channel, it's also affecting others. So by increasing blue, I'm also increasing magenta because it's all the different channels are they're all interlocked and related to each other. So by increasing blue, or by increasing blue, I'm also subtracting yellow. It's also increasing magenta. And you can tell what's going on by just basically reading the histogram or reading the info palette here, the numbers. When you're on an adjustment, it'll give you the kind of before and after values. It'll just tell you what it was before. On the left is the before values, and the right's the after. So 2, 3, so 2 and 4. We're pretty close. I think we're pretty good on there. Now, by making this adjustment, we can see that number 1 is just a little too blue. There's not enough yellow in there, and 3 is way too much blue. So since I have an adjustment layer, I can basically just mask those out. And since I have all these other masks kind of isolating together, I don't have to be very careful. I'm gonna hit the letter D to reset my colors, X to swap them, and then just paint with black underneath. And actually I want to make sure that I have other dynamics turned on, since I am using a tablet. It's pressure sensitive, and that way I can just lightly stroke over her face here. And let's see if I don't think it's working here. Yeah, it is. It's not nearly as sensitive. So now reading the values again. 68, 81. I could probably put a little bit more back in there. Okay, that's pretty close. So it's interesting that to me her skin still looks red. It looks too red. I think a lot of it is these other parts of the image, and then you also have the greens right next to her and the blue, which increases that contrast, and then all these other yellow, orange areas. They'll play with your perception of color throughout the image, or maybe I'm just seeing red today. So. Maybe that's it. So she's pretty done. We just want to maybe move the cursor over her skin and checking the values in the very top right, just to make sure they're all kind of within range. We're just going to slowly move them across. It's interesting how if you just get the wrong point, the wrong sample point, just in the wrong area, it can really throw off the results to the image. So it is important to kind of move the cursor over and really look at the values to make sure they're all within range. For instance, yeah, that's close. Okay, so we're all good there. Now we'll work on the guy. And I'm just going to grab the marquee tool for him. Okay, we'll start with curves. I'm using curves instead of levels because it gives you more control over the adjustment. If you prefer levels and that's what you want to use, that's fine. It just doesn't give you the control over different areas of the image. So let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Just move that in the center. One thing, if with the sample point, I'm using the 5x5 average. So you have to make sure that wherever your sample point is, it's not near like an edge. Like I wouldn't put it near the water because it'll pick up some of that green in the water for the value and give me a value that's not really accurate to his skin. So you want to make sure you're kind of inside the image as much as possible.